How's it going, guys? Andrew here with Justified EDC, and today I have a review for you of the Williams Blade Design OZM 002 made by Lionsteel. This is a definitely more geared towards the defensive side of the fixed blade world. We'll get into more of that as we talk about the knife, but this is definitely going to be more of a tactical knife as opposed to the more EDC side or utility knife side of things. So we're going to get into this here. We're going to get into spec, size comparisons, use, all that kind of stuff. But before we do that, we have to thank the sponsor of the channel, Auxiliary Manufacturing. Mike over at Auxiliary Manufacturing makes awesome custom USA-made fixed blades. His kind of flagship model right now is this Pocket Bowie. That's really sweet. I also have this guy right here. This is his Sumi model. He's preparing for Blade Show West right now, so I don't know if there's going to be a ton up on the website right now, but there definitely will be up here in the future. So if you're interested in any of his stuff, I do have a discount code with him. Code Justified10 will get you 10% off your order on his website. So if you're interested in any of that, I will leave links down in the description to his website, his Instagram, as well as that discount code. So thank you to Mike, as always, for sponsoring the channel. So let's get into this here. This is the Lionsteel or the Williams Blade Design made by Lionsteel OZM 002. So just a quick rundown on the specs here. This is a full tang, hidden tang construction. The blade steel is Sleipner, which I wasn't super familiar with before. The best I could find is it's kind of the European equivalent. It was, from what I could find, made to be a slightly improved D2, so a little bit more tough than D2. I also heard some people compare it basically as like a stainless crewware, but without the powder metallurgy process. So for my use and from everything that I've read, I'm going to kind of take that to be a slightly tougher D2. This does have a DLC coating on the blade. The handle here, again, hidden tang construction. The handles are micarta, bolt-on construction. You have a lanyard hole here in the bottom. Your size here, your blade is going to be right at 3.5 inches of cutting length, just a little bit over that back to the handle. And then your grip area is going to be about 3 3/4 of an inch, just below 4 inches. Your handle width is going to be about 1/2 inch. And again, very, very neutral. If you look at it this way, there is a slight, contour to it. These are also slightly contoured this way. Very grippy, very comfortable. But those are the basic specs, and then you do have this fold-over Kydex sheath, which is very well done. It comes with a pull the dot loop, so you can carry it horizontally. So that is specs. Let me get you a weight on here. So weight with the sheath, you're coming in at 4.7 ounces. Weight without the sheath, we're looking at 3.6, so kind of middle of the road in terms of weight for this kind of size of fixed blade. Let me get you some size comparisons here. I'm going to lay this out. Let's grab some fixed blades. So here is an Offensive Industries Varger. This is the 3-inch Varger. So in terms of the thickness, pretty similar. Varger is a little bit longer in the handle, a little bit shorter in the blade. So that is a Varger. If you have one of the old style Vargers, here's a 2.5-inch Varger, kind of the old style. So much thicker in the handle, again, longer blade. Here is the SE Azula 2. Lined up there from the handle. There you go. Let's see, what other fixed blade should we do? Let's grab here. Here is the Hogue X-Track XL. So definitely shorter, but it's going to be much thicker, both in blade stock and in handle. There you go. Here is... Let's get into some, actually, let's do one more here because I like the thickness comparison on this one. Here is the Turner CNC Jackalope XL. So overall length, actually pretty similar. A little bit longer on the Turner, a little bit more blade length, handle thickness. This actually makes this one look a little bit thinner. So there's the Jackalope XL. let's get some folders out here for you guys for size comparison's sake. In my pocket today, we got the Kershaw Blur, kind of a classic. Here is a TRM Neutron 2. Here is a Spyderco Indela, so the mid-size between the Delica and the Endura. Here is a Buck 112. This is the light version. There's a Cold Steel Recon 1 Mini. And then let's do some multi-tools here, just so we make sure we round everything out. Here is a Milwaukee Fastback, the 6-in-1. Here's the standard Milwaukee Fastback. I'll show you thickness on that one here again, so you get a good size, a good judge of the handle thickness next to the Fastback. Here is a Leatherman Skeletool, closed and then open. And then one last one here, we'll do the Leatherman Wave Plus. There is open. And this is what it's going to look like closed. Again, I'll give you a thickness comparison. There you go. So that should give you a pretty good judge of the size. Oh, let me do some traditionals here. I try to get something from every category just to, you know, make sure that anyone that's familiar with any kind of knife is going to have a good comparison. Here is this is a K-Bar full-size trapper, so this follows the same, you know, kind of pattern as all of your standard trappers from Case or Queen or K-Bar or anything like that. There's a standard trapper, and here is a Case Barlow. So that should give you a really good overall comparison on size. Hopefully that fills you in on the details. So let me pull the sheath back out here and let's start talking about this thing. So this is a really interesting knife. I've been wanting a Williams blade design, you know, one of the non-CRKTs for a while now. You know, I've had the Yukanto and a couple other of the Williams designed CRKTs. But, you know, I've wanted one of their, you know, more premium ones. This is kind of like an in-between, you know, the in-between like their CRKT ones and the ones that they are made by Winkler. The ones made by Winkler can get up into like the $300-400 range. This one, I believe, is around like the $250 mark. I got this on the secondary market for cheaper than that. So if you keep your eye out, you can find these a little bit cheaper. But you're gonna look around the $250 mark. I'll put a link to where you can purchase these down below so you can get an exact price. But I believe that's the, you know, about the price point that you're going to be looking at. This is definitely going to be a defensive knife first. And then, you know, you can use it for utility if you really need to. But looking at the grinds here, you have a very thick stock. I want to say this is about 3/16. It might be a little less than that. I don't have my calipers here. They are off in my toolbox, which I do not have with me. It's definitely less than 3/16, but I think it's over an eighth. It might be like 5/32, something like that, because this is 3/16. It's a little bit thinner than that. But my point in all of that is it's a fairly thick blade stock. You have a very short, like saber height flat grind. And then the edge that came with this, while it was sharp, was very steep and very narrow. The edge you're seeing on here is my own edge. I laid this back to a 20-degree edge with a little bit wider of a bevel with my work sharp here. Let me pull this out just so you can see. I always forget what the name of the system is, but I use this system here, put my own edge on it, and this makes it cut a little bit better. The one that I had before, you know, it would cut paper, but any kind of like actual utility work, you know, like breaking down boxes or anything like that, it kind of struggled through. This here with this edge on it is much sharper. and it does cut a little bit better. So as you can see from the wear on the DLC, I did put a fair bit of utility use on this just to see how it would perform. And again, the conclusion I came to is this is definitely more of a defensive fixed blade. If you know anything about James Williams, he designs very, martial styles of blades for, fighting knives. So this is definitely a puncture, poke and stick kind of tool, which for that, it works very well. You have that Japanese style tanto tip on here. When I sharpened it, I did my best to keep that secondary point here. But looking down the edge there, it is definitely that Japanese style tanto where you have a flat section right here, and then it tapers up to the tip. So for piercing, stabbing, all that stuff, that's going to do very, very well. I would definitely say if you get one of these, I'd lay the edge back a little bit so that it's going to be able to, stab and rip a little bit better. Right now, you're just going to get a lot of stabbing performance out of this, not a whole lot of slashing or cutting, but with a little steeper of an edge on there or a little bit more shallow of an edge on there, I think it's going to perform a little bit better. Again, on the steel here on Sleipner, this is my first experience with Sleipner. I wasn't incredibly impressed or disappointed with the steel. It held an edge for a decent amount of time. Again, it is a stainless steel, but with the DLC coating on here, that doesn't really matter all that much. Really, on a blade like this, where it's just going to be kind of a fighting knife, a defensive knife, really what you're looking for is toughness. Sleipner, I'm not really sure if it's the steel I would have chosen for this, especially if you're going to put a DLC coating on it. You can put some tool steels or high carbon steels on here that are going to be much tougher, and then you don't have to worry about the rust resistance. And again, because you're not using this as, an EDC, doing all of your utility cutting with this, you don't really have to worry about edge retention a whole lot. So I probably would have put, if you really wanted a stainless, I probably would have used something like a Nitro V or a 14C28N or an AEBL. You could probably even get the price down a little bit from there. If you really wanted it to be more premium feeling, at this price point, I would have liked a little more premium steel. You could have put something like a 3V on here that I think would have worked a little bit better. But that being said, I didn't get any chipping in the edge. I did do my tip test where I stab and pry both ways. The tip is fairly robust, so I didn't have to worry about that at all. The one thing I did notice is that the swedge on here, if you look down to the edge, the swedge is ground unevenly, which is kind of annoying. One, it made it a lot harder to sharpen that tip. And two, it's just, at a knife at this price point, I would have liked to see the grinds a little bit more even. The actual edge bevels themselves, or the primary bevel, I should say, those were even. But the swedge on the top here, even just looking at it top down, you can see that this is a little bit more than it is on this side. So again, Lionsteel, I've heard good things about their quality control. I've had a couple Lionsteels here over the years. I think the only one I have right now is the slip joint here. This is the round head, and this one, the quality control on it was absolutely excellent. On the swedge here, this one is very even, and the edge is very, very nice. Walk and talk, all the fit and finish and everything like that is very nice. So, I know they're capable of that, so it's just, a little bit disappointing. On the handles here, these are very, very comfortable. I really do like the handles. I love the hidden tang construction because it just feels like you're gripping one solid piece of micarta. It has these grooves in there all the way around that give you a lot of good texture on top of it just being micarta. I did use this a little bit in the kitchen just to, try it out. It wasn't the best kitchen knife at all, but all that being said, when my hands were wet or had, like vegetable juice or something on it, these micarta scales got very grippy, and that's very nice. So I do like the handle. I think the material choice and the design of the handle is very well done. I wouldn't have minded if it was a hair longer. I usually like about a 4-inch handle for my hand. I wear a medium-sized glove, so there in my hand, that's about what you're getting. I usually like about a 4-inch handle. So this is a tiny bit small, but I can still get a full 4-finger grip on it. Again, very neutral, so you can do hammer grip, saber grip, forward grip edge in, reverse grip edge out, reverse grip edge in. All of that stuff is very easy to do. It's very easy to pivot your grips around and stuff, change your grips. That's what I love about neutral handles. The one thing here you're probably wondering is, oh, you're missing a handle screw. Well, what they did in here is to mimic and I'm forgetting the word, in Japanese style wraps where they put, some kind of token or something in here that's a little bit raised for indexing purposes. They just put a domed screw in here that stuck out about, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch above the handle. for indexing purposes. I didn't like that. One, I kind of remolded this offensive industry sheath so I could carry this knife in the pocket, and that screw was getting in the way of being able to get the knife in and out. So again, that's not really a knock on the design, but also it just kind of felt weird in hand. It was a hot spot on your grip, especially if you were holding it, forward grip edge in or reverse grip edge out, where it was up against your hand. You could really feel that. I would have much rather than have put like a divot or something in the scale there, where it's not creating a hot spot, but you can still index off of it. Like taking the screw out, I can still feel that hole there and index from it just fine, knowing where my edge is. So I much rather would have liked to see, a divot here. This is definitely not an outdoors knife by any means, but you could have even put a divot in there and it would double as like a bow drill divot. Just a thought. Lanyard hole back here. I don't put lanyards on my fixed blades, but if you are a lanyard person, this is a nice, generous size lanyard hole. You're going to easily be able to fit 2 lengths of paracord through there, so that's not a problem. And then the sheath is very nicely done. If you're not going to give me a pocket sheath, I like a very small, slimline, fold-over Kydex sheath. So this one is done very well. Snaps in, great. Doesn't rattle at all. You have this push point here. You can pop it out with your thumb. Oh, man, I just dropped it on the ground doing that. There we go. So it goes in and out of the sheath very easily. Even, if you have this on your belt, you can kind of get like a 3-finger grip on here, and then as you come out of the sheath, you can put your 4th finger on there. So carrying it, if you wanted to carry it horizontal on the belt, or, put a DCC clip or an Ulti clip on here and carry it inside the waistband, you could absolutely do that. How I carried most of the time was with this offensive industry sheath in the pocket, which I liked quite a bit. It's not super heavy, like 3.5 ounces about, so not super heavy. But yeah, I don't, this is kind of an interesting review for me, because usually I like to carry fixed blades that can double between my utility work and a defensive fixed blade, and this one kind of toes that line. Again, with the new edge on it, it does cut paper, very well. It's very sharp now. Oh, I'm not showing it off very well because this paper sucks, but, it's much sharper now. You can do some utility work, but it's definitely more of a defensive fixed blade. So if you're looking for a dedicated defensive knife and you like the, Quaken style Japanese Tanto, I would say this is definitely something you could look into. I might say, you might be better off going with one of the, oh man, what I was trying to say, one of the Winkler made ones, because I believe they, baseline use 80 CRV2, and I think they did some in 3V. I even want to say they did some in Magna Cut recently, which I think all would have been better steel choices. But if you find one of these on the secondary market and you like the look of it, I'd say it's definitely worth picking up. Again, your mileage may vary on the Sleipner steel. I'm not super familiar with it, so if you know more than I do and that's a steel that works for you, that's great. But I think the package that it comes with is very nice. You can carry it in a variety of ways. It's fairly neutral. I just think for the price, you could have upgraded that steel a little bit. So those are my thoughts, guys. I don't want to make this review too long. There's not a whole lot to talk about here, but definitely go check these out if you're interested in them. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the comment section. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video.